Hey friends, I'm Cynthia Top and I am the host of the Facebook group How to Create a Magical Life. And this is Vision Boards That Actually Work, Part 3. So bear with me for just a moment. I am going to get myself going here in two spots at once if I can. Alrighty. Nope. I just want to broadcast this in the group as well. So hopefully that will work. All right. So I'm Cynthia Top. Happy New Year. Today is January 2nd, 2018. And this is Vision Boards That Actually Work. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to actually I've been working on my vision board components, and I'm going to do another step on it while I'm here live with you. So if you've watched my other two videos in this little series, you will have seen this before. This is how I have been doing my vision boards for the last few years. So as you can see, small, just a piece of cardboard. I did that because I wanted to be able to put it up on my bulletin board and where it was in front of me all year and not take up too much room on the bulletin board. So there's nothing magical about how you do your vision board. You don't need to cut pictures out of magazines to make it work. One really easy way, if you're more of a digital person, is just use PowerPoint and make a slide and drag all your things onto the slide, and that's a great way. And then you can print it out if you want to, or you can save it as a JPEG and send it to be the wallpaper of your phone or your tablet or whatever. But I like to use my little cardboard thing here, and part of it is I actually like the process of printing out my little pictures for, printing them on paper and then cutting them out and gluing them on. It's helpful to me just because it slows me down. It makes it very meditative. But the process of figuring out what's going to go on my vision board is also really meditative. So there's nothing wrong with doing it digitally if you want to. Yeah. So I want to tell you a little story first about something that just happened. And this was actually yesterday. I have a card deck that I really like. This Osho Zen Tarot card deck. And when I draw cards from there for myself, if I have one that's really meaningful, that I know is not just for that moment, I might have been thinking about some particular problem or whatever. If I pull one that feels like, ooh, this is an ongoing, this is my word for this moment or whatever, I'll often then take that card, and when I put the card deck away, I'll just leave that card on top to remind myself. So when I pulled out the cards this time, and I hadn't looked at them for a while, when I opened them, there was one on there that I probably pulled in maybe January, February, March of this past year, 2017. And it was this card that says ripeness. And that card had been really meaningful to me because the whole thing was about you're ripe to give away the sweetness that's inside of you. The fruit of your life is just about ready to drop from the tree, and it doesn't take any tugging, it just drops when it's ready. So it was a very meaningful card when I pulled it. And when I got the deck out yesterday, there it was on top, ripeness. And I looked at that, and I had this feeling rise up in me, oh my gosh, that's what 2018 is for me. And then I was like, I'm going to laugh at myself here. I was like, no, I said I was going to pull 3 cards for myself for this year, so I'm just going to still do it. So I put that ripeness card back in the deck, and I did this kind of shuffling where you pull from the middle, and then I also bridged the cards several times, and then I tapped them on the table so that and it's a nice new deck. They're all, like, the cards are real perfect. And then I spread them out fanned them out for myself to draw my 3 cards. And as I was doing that, I was like, I'm going to draw that ripeness card again, aren't I? And then I thought, no, that would be too crazy. I just shuffled this deck really good. And I fanned them out, and I drew 3 cards, and I laid them face down. And I flipped the first one over, and yes, here it was. So I have a sense that that word ripeness is definitely something for me for 2018. And my point with this is that when we are creating our vision boards, part of what we're doing is saying, what wants to happen in my life? What is it that is longing to happen? Because it's no good to say, I want to make $1 million. I want to win the lottery. I want to win $1 million in the lottery. If that's just a good idea up here, and I know I've said this a million times, but if it's just a good idea in our minds, there's no point in putting it on your vision board. A vision board is not about good ideas from our minds. It's about what wants to be created from our souls, what our souls want to bring into reality for this year, for example, with the vision board. So there I was pulling my ripeness card again, and I just laughed and said, that's what wants to come into being through my life this year. This year is about ripeness for me. So what I did, I'm being very practical here and showing you the actual steps that I take. So I took a photo with my phone of my 3 cards. Here's my ripeness and the other 2 that I drew. And then here is my blank piece of cardboard. And if some of you join me a little later, here's how I do my vision boards, just a little piece of cardboard. So with little tiny, I like to print out little tiny photos. It's just partly fun. So while I'm looking down here, I am actually putting a little bit of glue on the back of my 3 cards that I drew for this year. So this is just an idea. If you have a deck of cards, if you have cards that are like affirmations or any of the ones that have show spirit guides or tarot cards, what you want to do is just take the time to really ask. Quiet yourself, spend some time in quiet, and then set an intention or ask, what wants to happen in 2018? And then draw a card or draw several, whatever you feel led to do, and let them just resonate with you. So here I've glued my first 3 things onto this year's new vision board. So my 3 cards that I drew. Then the next thing is, if you watch the 2 earlier ones in this little series, I told the story about how on last year's vision board I had this picture of this oh so cute little Adobe home here in Salida where we moved that I was sure we were going to be able to buy, and it didn't work out. And I realized that I was forgetting to, and when it came to the house, I was forgetting the part that was this or something better for the highest good of everybody involved. I was so attached to that particular house. I forgot to hold it lightly and say this or something better. So that was one of my lessons as I looked at last year's vision board, and I decided I want to just put this or something better on my vision board for this year so that I see it all year long, just as a reminder to not get attached to the specifics. So I'm gluing my little this or something better on here. So yeah, so that I see every day that little reminder that we don't always know how things are going to play out, but we can always ask for what we want or something better for the highest good of everybody involved. I have, here, I'll show you my whole little pile. This is like, right here. This is just part of all my little scraps that of my little photos and stuff that I've cut out. So one of the things that my husband and I, Craig and I, are hoping for this year is to actually move to a different house. When we moved here to Salida and bought the place that we're in, we said from the beginning, it's really a great place for us to land, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be our forever home. And so here's another little lesson in just the listening process. I wanted to put something on my vision board about moving to a different home. And what I did the other day, I've been working on this for like the past week or so, and I just got on Zillow and I grabbed an image of a house that is for sale that is in more or less the right price range. And I thought, oh, I'll just stick that on there as a representation that we're looking for a new house. That'll just remind me. So sometimes the images we choose are not necessarily the specific. Last year's vision board, I had that specific house I thought we were going to be able to buy, and then we didn't. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to put this one on here. And it's a house I've driven by, and it doesn't have much curb appeal, and it's just kind of, it was very, not random, but it wasn't like totally well thought out that I decided, oh, I'm going to put this photo on here. And today, as I was cutting out all my little photos, I just felt really strongly, I can't put that picture of that crappy house on my vision board. Like, it just seemed like I was selling myself short. So I thought for a few minutes, and then I just Googled, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. I got on Google Images, and both Craig and I love craftsman style, like the bungalows from the early 1900s, the little historic homes. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find an image of a house that I don't even know where in the country this is, but that represents for me like what would be the best. So this is so tiny you're not going to be able to see. Well, you can sort of see. There's some cute little craftsman bungalow from somewhere. And I just felt when I printed that little photo out, and I'm about to put it on my board here somewhere, I felt so much better about that, because what I was saying was, I'm not going to settle for just whatever house is in our price range. I want the cute little historic home. That's what I love. And so, oops, here it is. I've just stuck it in the corner of my vision board. So as you're doing this, check in with yourself and see, are you settling? Are you saying, oh, that would be okay, or that'll remind me of what I really want? And it's not that you need to get a picture that's perfectly, exactly what it is you want. I mean, maybe what you want doesn't exist yet, or like along the line of houses, maybe you want to build your dream house. It doesn't exist. You can't have a photo of it. Or you're longing for the love of your life. Well, you don't necessarily want to put a picture of a certain man in your life, or a certain, it's like that might be too specific, but at the same time, try to find images that somehow represent for you the best. You can do this. So there's that. And then I want to tell you one more little story. So one of the other categories on my vision board. Oh, and wait, before I tell my story, I'll mention this. Sorry, I'm doing this completely without notes because I've got my vision board stuff spread out here, and so it's a little more scattered than usual. Plus, I'm snuffling and sniffing and whatever. But one of the things to think about as you do this is the categories of your life. So think about money, think about love, either finding the love of your life, your soulmate, or if you're in an existing relationship, developing that relationship to where it is your soulmate and the love of your life. So money, love, health and wellness, the whole category of getting healthy, getting fit, having fun, having adventure. And then the category of your job, your career, your business, however you spend the biggest part of your day, that's another place to set intentions. The category of purpose or calling, what are you longing to bring into the world? That's really rich for finding things to put on your vision board. And then the people around you is another category. So one of the things that Craig and I have said for this year is we're really longing for friends. And we moved in here in end of April. And I've been saying when people from back in the Front Range are asking me, oh, how are you doing? Do you have friends? Have you made friends? And I keep saying, well, I've connected with a lot of great people, but we're still in that early stage where I don't know if they're quite friends yet. It just takes time. So Craig and I have been talking that one of the things that we really want this year is friends. So I'm going to stick this on in a minute. And one of the ways that I wanted to represent that is just by a little random picture of some people sorry, here, I'll hold it still in a minute, sitting at a table eating together. Because people are friends when you can invite them over to dinner at your house or you eat together. So I got on a little bunny trail there, but that was another category, is the people in your life. It may be that you're longing for goodness for somebody else, somebody in your life, to have exactly what they love. So here is a little tiny picture of my husband, Craig, wearing safety glasses, working on some project. And what I am longing for him for this year is joy. And then, where did it go? A job that he totally loves. If we believe that we create our reality, then I have some part to play in creating a beloved husband who has a job that brings him a lot of joy. He has a job right now that's actually a good job, but it's not like the job that he's just like, oh, I can't wait to go to work again after the holidays. So why have I created a reality with a husband who doesn't love his job? And then what am I going to do about that? So we can play a part in other people's lives by what we put on our vision boards. So I'll just recap these categories again. I call them the big 7. So love, money, health, purpose and calling, job, career, business, all these things for the people in our lives that we love. So like for Craig, having a job. And then finally, another category that is I just think of as magic and miracles in times of crisis. And I'm not putting that on my vision board because I don't want a crisis this year. But just to recap my big 7, these seem to be the areas of our life that we're the most eager to create magic in, and sometimes we struggle with the most. So as you're doing your vision board and thinking about what to put on it, try to think broadly of those categories and don't just focus on, I think it's easy to focus on like money, and it's easiest to focus on the ones we don't have. I'll put it that way. But try to think broadly. What about in the whole of my life? What areas am I not as balanced? Where do I need to grow? Where do I need to attract what I long for? So I got a bunch more little pieces down here, but I just wanted to bring that to you. And if you want to discuss more, I would love it if you join my free Facebook group, which is How to Create a Magical Life. I'll put the link to it in the comments. And I'm going to do at least one more of these about vision boards that actually work. This is kind of the most practical one, maybe. But I want to talk about what we do with a vision board once we've created it. Because one of the reasons why it doesn't work often is because we don't do what we need to with it once we've created it. So there you go. I'm Cynthia Top, and I hope you'll join me in my free Facebook group, How to Create a Magical Life, which I'll post in the comments in 1 minute. All right, ciao for now. Oh, and thanks for tolerating my stuffy nose and my coughing and whatever. Alrighty, Happy New Year.